What's up, everybody? It's Legal Tender. I'm back in the building. I'm back in the vote. I pulled out some notes to make a new video. I want to start off by thanking everybody for supporting the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the love and thank you for the support. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Give me some thumbs ups. All right, so if you are a fan of numismatics, if you're a fan of paper currency, if you're just getting into the hobby of numismatics, stay rocking with me, stay rocking with the channel. Every Tuesday is Legal Tender Tuesday, and I will be making a new episode every week, speaking about something new, different, or interesting within the realm of numismatics. If you have any questions, comments, or input, put it down in the comment section. I read everything and I respond back immediately. If you have any, throughout this video, if I say something that isn't 100% accurate, also a little different from what you know, please let me know via the comments. I will go back, hit the books, and make sure that I have the right information moving forward. All right, with that being said, let's get into today's episode. All right, today's episode will be a completed set episode. And the notes that I pulled out these notes right here. All right, this here is a silver certificate. As always, you can tell the currency type up top. Silver certificate. And silver certificates are identified with a blue treasury seal and blue serial numbers. Now, that is true just about 8 times out of 10 because there are some silver certificates that have a different color treasury seal and serial numbers. And that is very unique to certain silver certificates, and I'll speak about that in a moment. Now, the notes that I pulled out are, got these right here. Now, there are 5 different types of silver certificates. You got large size notes, small size notes, these right here. You have blue numeral notes. You got some gray numeral notes. You have some emergency currency. And you have some experimental notes. And I will be speaking about each one in a second. All right, so the first note that I have is a large size note. This is what they call a horse blanket. Now, this note is the first size note. Well, the first note of this size issued by the Department of the Treasury. Now, it's a note that got some length on it. It's pretty big. Now, look at this note compared to a small size note. Now, small size and large size is easily explained with just this visual right here. I forget the exact dimensions of this horse blanket, but that is why this note is called a horse blanket, because it completely engulfs the small size note. Now, even though both notes are silver certificates, blue treasury seals and blue serial numbers, in the same vignette, and both notes have a monetary value of $1 US. Now, back in the days, the Department of the Treasury was trying to figure out a way to minimize the cost of the production of these notes. So what they did was just reduce the size of it. Because something as simple as reducing the size was proven that they could save millions of dollars in production and printing of US currency. Because if you use less material, you could get more material. So the smaller you made the note, the more notes that could be printed. Also, the less ink that you use on a large note, you could use more ink on smaller notes. So it just made more sense as a whole financially to reduce the size. That way they could get more bang for their buck. Pun intended. So these are the large size notes, horse blankets. Now, the Department of Treasury reduced the size of the note in the year of 1929, and the first series year to have to be printed and issued is series year 1928. The dimensions of this small size modern day note is 6.14 inches in width and 2.61 inches in height. The previous horse blanket is like 7+ inches in width and 3+ inches in height. So they definitely save more money doing these smaller notes. Now, silver certificates came into play because of the Coinage Act of 1873. It intentionally omitted language authorizing the coinage of standard silver dollars and ended the bimetallic standard that had been created by Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of Treasury. Now, while the Coinage Act of 1873 stopped production of silver coins, it was the 1874 adoption of Section 3568 of the revised statutes that actually removed legal tender status from silver certificates and payments of debts exceeding $5. Now, from that statement, I think what I got from that is if there was a debt of higher than $5 because of section 3568 of the revised statutes of 1874, you could no longer pay a debt that exceeded $5 in silver certificates. I think that is what that statement means. I am no economist, but if I am wrong, please let me know in the comments. Now, the purpose of silver certificates were many. The first one was to allow investors to buy silver without taking physical possession of the commodity, which makes all the sense in the world. Because if I buy $100 worth of silver, I'll probably get like a big bulk of silver or multiple silver pieces or silver bars, things like that. But with a silver certificate, this paper right here is a representation of the precious metal I now own. So if I had 100 silver certificates, it's a lot easier for me to commute in my day-to-day life as opposed to walking around with 100 pounds or $100 worth of silver. Another reason is to represent a stated amount of silver bullion purchased or held by an investor. Again, same thing. If I have $100 of silver, it could be summed up with a paper note. Another reason is to be redeemable for silver coins or bullion at any time, backed by matching the amount in silver in the United States Treasury. Now, this is where the obligation or debt clause comes into play, because it is stated right here that this certifies that there has been deposited in the Treasury of the United States of America $1 silver dollar payable to the bearer on demand. So at any point in time, I could take this paper note to the Treasury and exchange it for a physical piece of silver. So again, that is a lot better than walking around with silver bars on you, silver or gold bars. And the last reason silver certificates exist is to provide confidence in the currency's value by anchoring it to a tangible wealth. Without silver backing this note, this is just paper. But at any point in time, again, I could take this note to the Treasury and exchange it for X amount of silver, whatever the dollar amount of this note is. And that right there build confidence in the currency and the wealth of the nation. Now, some notes that I pulled out, and starting with the first one. So, like I said, the Department of Treasury decided to reduce the size of the note in the year of 1929, and the first series year was 1928. Now, this is the first series year with a reduced size from the previous large size horse blanket. Now, the design on the back is a funny back. Now, some people will say this looks like Monopoly money, but from what I've heard in research, this was in existence before Monopoly money. So Monopoly money actually got the idea of their design from this note right here. These notes, the funny back design. So 1928, funny back. All right, the next note we have some colorized numerals, and we got a couple of those. Let's pull them out. All right. Now, first off, you can see some changes in regards to the design on the obverse. Now, as we see that the treasury sign moved from the left side to the right side, and the blue numeral was added, identifying the monetary value of that note. Now, there are 3 denominations that have that blue numeral. You got the 1, the 5, and the $10 bill. Something else about these notes is that even though the design on the obverse changed, the design on the reverse did not change. So, and you can find the blue numeral only on series year 1934. So that's pretty cool. Now, also, you have got some gray numerals. And I want to say this started in series year 1935. All right, now I got 2 of these out. And both of these are series year 1935G. 1935G. And the only difference from this note and the previous note is the blue numeral went from blue to gray. Now, as we see, both notes are 1935G. And the image of the obverse looks the same on both. But if you go to the reverse, there is additional print. Because 1935, series year 1935G is the year that they added the motto, "In God We Trust." Now, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing still printed notes of series year 1935G without the motto and some with the motto. That's why I got both of these in the collection, because they are the same series year, but there is a change on the obverse. That's pretty cool. Now, there are 3 numerals that have the gray identifier, and that is the $1 bill, the $5 bill, and a $10 bill. But I do not have a $10 bill as of yet. So when I get that, that will be one more set completed. All right, moving on. All right, next we have emergency currency. Now, I made an episode speaking about these notes right here in the past. And the purpose of these emergency currency notes, now there are 2 types of emergency currency. This is the North Africa emergency currency. And they could be identified with a yellow treasury seal and blue serial number. Now, there are 3 denominations that was printed: the 1, the 5, and the 10. Now, I made an episode speaking about the purpose of the creation of the North Africa emergency currency note, and I'll do a brief synopsis of it. Now, during World War II, Allied forces that worked in the theater of operation in North Africa and Europe had to get paid. So what they did was, to ensure that the soldiers were still getting paid, of course, we're going to print currency and pay the soldiers for their service. But there was a calculated, not threat, but caution that if a cache of U.S. currency came under siege by enemy forces, that enemy can now use U.S. currency against us, against the Allied forces. So what they did was they put a special marking, if you will, on the U.S. currency. So what they did was Congress approved to have the Treasury seal yellow and not the traditional blue identifying a silver certificate, because they are silver certificates. But any note that had a yellow Treasury seal can be demonetized and will have no monetary value at all. So that is why these notes have a yellow Treasury seal. And like I said, all silver certificates, yellow Treasury seal. And another note, the other emergency currency is the Hawaii overprint note. And these came into existence for the exact same reason. Now, when Imperial Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, there was fear that they could possibly invade the island state of Hawaii. So the Congress came up with a plan, gathered all U.S. currency, had that currency destroyed, and reissued U.S. currency, and had it shipped to Hawaii, but with a brown Treasury seal and brown serial numbers. Silver certificate. Now, there are 4 denominations that were printed, and that is the $1 bill, the $5, the $10, and the $20 bill. But the $1 bill is the only bill that is a silver certificate. The 5, 10, and 20 are Federal Reserve notes. Now, like I said, every silver certificate isn't identified with a blue Treasury seal and blue serial numbers. Because we see right now, we have different color Treasury seals. We got a blue, we got a yellow, and we got a brown. And the serial numbers are a different color as well. Brown serial number, blue serial number, and we got another blue. So, yeah. I made an episode speaking about Hawaii notes as well, with a little bit more historical information attached to it. So check that episode out. And the last notes we have are these notes right here. These are my favorite notes, honestly. I really like these right here because the story behind them. These are experimental notes. We got the R and S note. Now, I did an episode speaking about these, and there is some back and forth and speculation about what the R and S stands for. I could have sworn I seen something that said the R stands for rayon and the S stands for silk. But it's a lot of people say the R stands for regular, which means this is regular paper, and the S stands for special, which means this is special paper. The rayon and the silk means that the note is made of rayon, and the S stands silk, which means that it's made of silk. But I've heard both sides of the story, so I'm gonna just say it's regular and special. And the special part is that there was a special film sprayed over the note to increase the longevity and livelihood of the note. So I made an episode speaking about these as well. So go check out that episode if you want to get a little bit more information about the experimental R and S notes. So yeah, that is that. So yeah, this is my completed set of silver certificates. Really happy that I got them in the collection. Super pumped that I do have them in the collection. And yeah, man, a huge fan of just numismatics and all the information and knowledge that comes with it. So yeah, this is what we got. This is the first note I ever purchased from a coin shop, and I got this in Chicago. It came down to this in a Hawaii note, but I like this. This is the note that called out to me, and this is the one that I purchased. And I only got one large size note. And like I said, the rest of my little collection. So again, of these silver certificates, which one is your favorite? And even though there are 5 silver certificates printed, how would you rank them from 1 through 5? Not worst to best, just your own personal preference, 1 through 5. All right. That's all we got for this one. Until next time, keep it legal, keep it tender. Talk to you soon.